Hi everybody, I'm Heather from Stamps by Judith and Heather, and I'm coming to you from my studio basement, in other words also known as my laundry room. I wish I could be with you at the shows, but right now that's not happening, so we'll do the best we can, and I have a project I want to share with you today. I'm going to use it on a scrapbook page, but it can easily adapt to cards and picture frames and all sorts of different things. What we're going to do is interactive stamping. So I'll start off showing you. This is one thing with the torn paper garden, and yes, this is my little guy Nathan, who is now 13 and as tall as I am. The interactive stamping you can find, we have these idea sheets available on our website that you can download, and we have videos that match each page. And I will be working off idea sheet 4, so there's video episode 4 that matches it. And you'll be able to find this project on our website, or picture of this and all the stamps related to using it. So what I'm going to basically show you how to do this bottom garden. It's made out of several small stamps. There's 4 basically that make the bulk of the garden. I have my twiggy branch, which is H276, my stickweed, which is E88, my sprig, which is C29, and my hay pile, which is B41. I will also be using some sticks, which are my double A's, and stubbies, which are my triple A's. And there are specials on our website on the stubbies that you can go in and get, and the larger stamps will also be on special. And make sure there is a door prize, so sign up for that. Okay, we're going to get started. The first thing I'm going to do, I have one already torn, but you tear your garden in an irregular edge, or your paper. This will become the bottom edge of your garden. I'm just going to use this one because there's already ink on it and we can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to use this towards the bottom of my page, and I would trim this page down eventually, so it's okay to go off of it. And I have my Hunter Green ink. I'm going to start off with my B41 hay pile. And normally I'd take my hay pile and stamp it horizontally. I'm going to flip it so it's vertical on my page. So I'm going to come across, and if you use legal size paper, it's probably better for your 12 by 12 scrapbook. I just have to shift my mask a little bit. This should be a quick step. And you can vary the heights and how dark you're stamping something. I'm stamping it off so I get dimension. This is now my grass. Part of it, and I'm just going to shift this down. You can see there's kind of the nice irregular edge. This step shouldn't take too long and not involve a whole lot of thinking. So there's step 1. To clean off my stamp, it's water on paper towel. So I just blot off my stamp. I'm going to put my mask back. I'm going to come back with the C29 sprig and create little shrubs. You can make these as full and bushy as you want. You can make as many of them as you want. I'll put one more, maybe coming off the page down here. All right, and then I'm going to grab my twiggy branch. And in the idea pages, there's some ideas using that one, I believe. It's on the idea sheet video episode 2. You can see right here it's the same twiggy branch. And that's what makes these things interactive, because you can use them for more than one thing. And you could adapt this, like I said, to a card, to a picture frame, and it's going to look different every time. So I'm going to put my twiggy branches in here. Again, shift this down. And maybe one more. And then the last one is my stickweed, my E88, and there's also samples in the idea sheet booklet thingy with using this one as well. Put some different kinds of dead branches in here. You can see why legal paper would come in handy for this. All right, so basically there is my garden. I want to anchor this to my page a little bit. So I'm going to take my Tombow watercolor markers. I have 3 colors, 192, 553, and 942. I'm going to start off with the 192 and just add, basically it's just a little dash. I'm flicking my wrist when I go up so I get kind of a tapered edge. And this is just, it helps to anchor it down on the page a little bit. And I'm not thinking about it a whole lot, just doing it quickly. It's a little squeaky. And being left-handed, I really should have started at the other edge. I'm dragging my hand through it at this point and blocking it so you can't see. I'm going to come back with the 553 blue. This time I'll go to the other edge. And adding the blue in there, if you notice it, it just makes it a little more natural looking. You always want to use more than one color, but if I used another color, green, it might just look too green and unnatural. So the blue just softens it. So I have that. Then I'm going to take this brown. I got to turn the paper a little bit for this. And I am kind of smearing the blue and green ink a little bit, and I don't mind, because it kind of ties it together. So I have my branches anchored. Now I'm going to take the sticks and stubbies, move these. I'm going to start off, this is AAA 154 Bold Flower Stubby. I have my rainbow ink pad. I'm going to snap it together, make sure my stamp is clean. I have a tendency to not clean my stamp after using them, so I always like to clean beforehand. Add some dark bold flowers in here. If I was doing this on a smaller space, I might stick to just the smaller flowers, but because I'm covering a 12 by 12 page, I want to have something that stands out a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to grab, this is AA 68. It's a bold brush flower. Stamp it in blue and add some little flowers to my little sprig shrubs. And I stamp multiple times so I get dimension, so they look like they're growing throughout the little shrub. And then I'm going to grab AA 84. It's a fuzzy flower top. It's got little wavy lines to it. And on top of the stickweeds, which was the singular tall skinny, I'm stamping it a couple times to create a little bit of a fuzz. And there's nothing that says they have to go on these. This isn't an exact science. You can put any kind of flowers on any kind of stems in here. I could switch it up. I have that. And then I want to give it just a little bit more of a pop. This is kind of one of my favorite stubbies right now. It's a newer one. It's 312 HK. It's just 3 tiny little flowers. And it's nice. I'm not even stamping it really hard because sometimes I don't get all the flowers, but it adds just a kind of a nice tiny little flower in there. The 3 flowers are smaller than one of the stick flowers, so you get multiple sizes. Then to dress it up a little bit, I'm going to take my AAA 04, my dots. These get used all the time, and I'm going to do them in blue ink. And I'm not going to come along, if this was, let me grab a scratch piece of paper. If this was my garden top edge, I'm not going to come along and do my stubbies or my dots in a line an inch above my garden, because it would look not as part of the garden. It's not incorporated. And I'm also not going to take my stubbies or my dots and do that. Those become blobs. So what I'm going to do is take my dots in blue and just lightly tap them down into the garden. It becomes that pollen and dust and dander that makes us all sneeze in the spring. And it just softens it. So I have my dots in there. And then you want to have a few little dandelion kind of puffs floating in the air. So this is double A 23. I'll do it in blue ink as well. Got some snowflakes. And this is one of my favorite leaves. It's triple A 301. And I'm adding this one last because sometimes it's nice to come back in and add that dark pop at the very end rather than in the middle. I'll add that. And it makes a nice cactus too if you stack it up, so you could have cactuses coming out. Now, no garden is complete without bugs. So I'm going to grab my double A 01, the solid heart, and this is what's going to make my bug. So I'm going to clean it off, a nice clean surface, and in my red ink, and I got blue on my paper down here, so that's a great place to put a heart. I can have one up there. They're upside down, so their points are not in your typical heart pattern. Then I'm going to clean off my heart, and in yellow, I must have had blue on my fingers. It's a great place to put a picture. I'm going to put two hearts together with their tips touching, and then a single heart. I'm going to come back. This is a Pilot Fine Line pen, and in the little red heart, I put a line and two spots, antenna, some little bug trails. And yes, I know ladybugs don't necessarily have these kinds of antennas, but they look cute with them. And we got this guy over here. And then these two, this one you probably guessed is a butterfly, so we do a little line and our antenna. And then this one's a single butterfly and the little bug marks. And then one of the things, after I trimmed my paper down and then mounted it, is I do not like the white edge of this paper. So I take my Pilot pen and I intentionally wobble a little line. I can't draw a straight line, so I don't try. I draw two wobbly lines, and it looks intentional, which it is. And you can see the difference between the two lines there, setting it off towards the top. And then underneath the garden, now this I can't do, is you write your message. So I'm going to quick turn this around. Okay, so you could continue that. I just have "Oh Happy Day." In my page that I did, after I put my pictures down, placed them out, I kind of figured out up here I wanted a little bit more. So I just basically repeated this whole thing in the corners. So it's a great way to tie in your page. You could then put your little letters. A flower pot stamped in different ways is a great way to make a title for something like this. But what's really neat about making these things interactive is we can take these same stamps, and this is where this idea sheet comes in handy, and you can create more. So let me grab not a green ink pad, a black. And I just want to quickly show you this. So here's our jar. And I'm going to take that same blue marker, the 553, and just quickly add a little blue. So I have that. And then a great masking tool is a Post-it note, because you don't have to hold it, especially for a straight edge. So I mask that off. I'm going back to that C29 sprig that created the little shrubs. And you can fill up your jar. And you can make this as full and bushy as you want. Take that away, put it down at the bottom. So I have an escapee, turn a couple down. And you could have the stems showing in the jar, but it gets to be a little messy. So that's why I mask them off. We get the idea. I'm going to grab my snowflake. That's the AA23. Go into my blue ink. And for this, I'm going to tap, 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 tap. So basically what I'm doing is creating a puff to create a flower. And then I can take the same stamp, and by simply squashing it harder to the page, I get another flower. And it's a really simple way to add to your scrapbook page. You could cut that out like it's a die or make a card front. I'm going to quickly take my dots just to soften it. Like this. Tie it in the same techniques as before. Take that, put a little heart, line, spot, spot, spot on the nose, and there's your ladybug in the jar. So again, you can download these off our website and see all the different ideas using, there's a stickweed that was in the Torn Garden. I will have the Torn Garden page I did with Nathan. Maybe I'll put a picture of what he looks like now so you can see the difference. On our website with all the stamps I used, and I will include in the comments the marker colors I used. So you can get all of that. Don't forget to sign up for the door prize and check out our website for all the specials. And there's other videos. If you like these, there are other videos that you can watch. I hope to see you at a show in the future soon, so it's much better talking face to face with you guys. But for now, this is what we'll do, and I hope to talk to you guys again later. Again, I'm Heather from Stamps by Judith, and I hope you have a great day.